Craving a Reuben but ditching the carbs? Man, this casserole today is going to knock your socks off. Stick around and I'll show you what we're making. Yep, today's casserole has all the special ingredients of a Reuben. It's got the corned beef, it's got the tanginess of the sauerkraut, and the creamy Swiss cheese. Oh yeah, let's talk about these ingredients and get moving. So we have quarter of a cup of mayo, quarter of a cup of sour cream. We've got a cup of shredded mozzarella. We've got 2 cups of Swiss that I've chopped up. We've got a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of caraway seed, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and 2 cups of chopped up corned beef, and I'll show you a little tip on that. So when you get your corned beef, it always comes, well, it comes in a couple ways. The best way to get it is at the deli counter. Just go up to your deli counter and tell them you want a pound of sliced corned beef, or maybe they'll chop it up for you or whatever. Not to be confused with canned corned beef. That's a different kind of texture and everything with that. So what you want is sliced fresh corned beef, and then if you want to shred it up for this particular recipe, a little tip for you, you can just get 4 or 5 slices out and just start doing this right here, and you can just slice it up real nice and neat, or shred it up. There's a piece of cake and not a lot to it. And you can also do your Swiss cheese the same way. If you can't find shredded Swiss cheese, which I wasn't able to at my store today, so I just done the same thing with the Swiss cheese. But there you go, you got shredded up corned beef. Now we're gonna get that just a little chopped up more. That's just a little tip for you. So we'll add this to our recipe and move on along. And we also have our 2 cups of sauerkraut. Now these are all the main ingredients. I've got some topping ingredients I'll show you in just a few minutes. So let's start making this thing up and make us a good old Reuben. Goodness. Okay, one of the first things we're going to do is remove some of the excess moisture from the sauerkraut. You don't want a soggy casserole, so I've just got some cheesecloth in here. If you don't have any cheesecloth, you can just dab it with some paper towels or whatever. You don't want to drain all the water out, just a good portion of it. So we'll do that real quick. Just give it a little squeeze, and there's a lot of moisture in that, so you don't want soggy casserole. I think that there should do it. So I'm going to put this back in here. Alright, so I've just drained off the excess moisture, put this back in the bowl. Now we're going to move on to, I've got a 9x9 casserole dish. Everybody knows the famous casserole dish, right? So we got the, just spread the corned beef in the bottom, make a good layer. Just pretend you're making a Reuben lasagna. How's that? That sounds pretty interesting. But we're just spreading that around in the bottom really nice. And the reason you shred it up is so it don't just come out in gobs of meat. I mean, it will separate later on. So we got that in there. I'm gonna separate some of these that have kind of stuck together when I hit them with the pizza slicer. And the pizza slicer is kid friendly. If you don't involve the kids or something, you can let them slice on the corned beef instead of using a knife, and that way it's safe for them in most cases anyway. So got my layer of corned beef in there. Now we're going to scoop out the sauerkraut on top of it, and we're just going to get it around nice and even. Just like this right here. And you can adjust it. If you like a lot of sauerkraut, you can add a little more or less or whatever. There's a stray leaf in there from the sauerkraut, green leaf. But alright, we got that. So now we're gonna make our sauce. Just got my sour cream here. I'll put this in the bowl. we've got our mayo, and you can use your favorite mayo. I use Chosen because the seed oils and stuff like that, but that's just my preference, and you can do whatever you want. It's your recipe. We're gonna mix in our seasoning here. There's the caraway seeds, and if you have these are a little better if you crush them up just a little bit. It releases some of the flavor. There's the onion powder. I use the toasted onion. I like that. Garlic and our Dijon. And just mix this up in the bowl. Oh yeah, smells nice with that caraway seed in there. And what the caraway seed's doing is, rye bread is made with caraway seeds, and it's giving you the flavor of the rye bread but without the carbs. How about that? We're keto-fying it. And now we're going to jump back to this, and we're going to add our cheese. I'm just going to put this on top of it really nice. This is the Swiss cheese. Press it in a little bit, make it a dense. Just like that right there. And then we're going to add our mozzarella, just to give it a little cheese pull to it. Put that in there. Now this is a nice looking casserole. Now we're going to pour the sauce over top of it. So we'll get that in there. Just like preparing a special dish for yourself. And while I'm scooping this out of the bowl here, if you're interested in a keto, low carb lifestyle, man, let me encourage you to subscribe and like and all that stuff. You can look back through all the recipes I've done up to now. I've got 2 years worth of stuff on there. And I also do product reviews and simple things that just catch my attention. Pretty low key, simple, easy, affordable, and all that good stuff. So I'd appreciate it if you'd do that. All right, we're going to spread this out. This will melt and flow down through it in the oven. And I do have the oven preheating right now to 375, so when I get done here, we'll go pop it in there. Oh man, if you could just smell this. All right, now we're going to top it off. Now the topping is optional. If you want to do it, that's fine. There's a couple of extra carbs in the almond flour and stuff like that, but you can put it in the oven just like this right there. Alright, for the topping we've got 3 simple ingredients. We've got a 1/4 cup of melted butter, 1/4 cup of almond flour, 1/4 cup of pork rinds. Now this is optional. Like I said, you can put it in the oven just like it is, but we're just going to dump all this into a bowl and mix it up and make a nice little crusty topping for it, hopefully. And we'll have a Reuben casserole shortly. Alright, let's get this mixing using the old Armstrong mixer. So that's going to go on top. We'll just smear it right on there, real nice and neat like, as neat as I can get anyway. And all that butter is going to ooze down into the casserole and make it good and delicious. So we just spread that out real easy. And I'm going to sprinkle on just a little bit extra pork rinds, just because I like the old pork rinds, but you can do it however you want. And then now here's the opportunity to spice it up. You want to put some red pepper flakes on there or anything you want, a little spicy or whatever, whatever it's yours. Hey, make it how you like it. So I put a little cayenne on mine. I'm going to throw it in the oven for about 25-30 minutes at 375. and we'll be calling it done. So while that's in the oven, I just want to talk about a time machine moment here. I was introduced to Reubens much later in life. It just so happens Arby's had come out with them a while back, and my wife was fighting cancer, and while she was dealing with chemo and stuff, after she'd get done with that, we'd go out to eat at Arby's, and that was my introduction to the Reuben. And of course there's some delis around here that make a mean Reuben as well, and but I got to liking them, and my wife's doing great now, so in honor of her surviving cancer, I'm going to eat Reuben casserole today. Time machine moment. All right, here we are, fresh out of the oven, the final product. Good old Reuben casserole. You can see it browned up real nice on top. The only thing left to do now is dig in and try it out. Can't wait. Here we have our final product, and if you look on top, you'll see that I've sprinkled a little or drizzled a little bit of keto Thousand Island dressing on top there. You can choose, there's several of them out there, Primal, G. Hughes, whatever. But just to give it that authentic Reuben taste of the Thousand Island dressing. And you can see how it's layered up, but let's dig in and see how this works out. Oh man. Man, that sauerkraut's got the right amount of tanginess. You can taste that corned beef really nice, the creaminess of the Swiss cheese. And man, that little bit of dressing on top, that's just a kicker right there. Oh, and then it's got a little crunchiness on the crust as well. So I'm definitely working this into my rotation and getting another bite. Hey, till next time, try this out. Let me know what you think in the comments. I like it a lot. Got all the right textures. The only thing missing, is, of course, is the bread and the carbs. And you can look in the description, see the macros and all that good stuff. And until next time, may the Lord bless you. Get you a little bit of Reuben casserole.